David Alexander IV, born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. He is the son of Alcuin and David Alexander III, the first African American chief of police for the city of Pensacola. David finished his basketball career as team MVP at Tuskegee University during his undergrad, where he graduated magna cum laude in mechanical engineering. He's met all his challenges thus far with an optimistic mindset, but his true testament of faith would come January 15, 2016, when he found out he was diagnosed with cancer.
It's a pleasure.
So we are where many people actually call the sacred grounds of Tuskegee University. This is where you attend college, correct?
Yes.
And what do you do here?
I am a graduate research assistant studying mechanical engineering.
And what do you plan on doing with that once you're finished?
Right now, I just want to accumulate skills to be able to create and sustain opportunities for people. So it's very broad, but I could pursue the PhD, I can go to industry, I have a couple other options, but kind of keeping my options open right now.
Gotta keep them open. So let's rewind some. You're in college, so we're gonna go back. How was your upbringing in life as a little David?
It's funny because that's like a family name because I'm named after my father. But growing up, all I knew was love, stability. Having both of my parents, they both hard workers, so they taught me work ethic. And I mean, just from those things came other things, but the main thing was I could think of stability, love, and work ethic.
So getting to know you a little bit better over these last few months, well, about a year now. I know that one thing that I've actually picked up from you is that family is a lot to you. You know, that's your foundation, and that your dad has been a pivotal part in your life, and also being a role model. Him being the first African American chief of Pensacola, how did that, what was your reactions to that feeling?
It makes me feel proud because I was there before he became that, and I saw the work that went into that. And it wasn't necessarily work to achieve that. It was just about helping people, helping your community. And while the goal was there, it also took some foresight. So most people don't know this, but 5 years before my dad actually got the appointment, he had the name tag, chief of police, with his name on it engraved, and it sat on a shelf in our house for 5 years until that great day came when he got the appointment.
So he kind of actually spoke his own position into existence.
Faith is the key.
Going into your upbringing, you being family oriented, were sports in the picture as you were a child? Or did it come into play in your years in college?
Sports was definitely in my early childhood. On my mom's side, all football players. On my dad's side, basketball players, track athletes, even softball. And I got an auntie. And actually, even my parents played softball earlier, like when they were in their adult years. It felt like a recreation type of program. So I was always around sports, and especially with my dad loving basketball, that kind of transferred on to me. And just having a love of something, you're going to work at it. And I just kept working at it, and I was fortunate to be able to get a full scholarship to college playing basketball.
Do you feel like you've lived your dream, as in playing for Tuskegee University, as being on the basketball team? Do you feel like you've completed that chapter in your life with basketball, or is that something you feel like you'll pursue a little later on after you graduate?
That chapter is definitely closed. It was a goal of mine to play college basketball at a young age, and also to play professional basketball. But I received the opportunity, but I chose graduate school because dreams change as you get older. So just the idea of playing professional basketball just wasn't the same after certain experiences in my life, and I wanted to have more of an impact. And that's not to discredit any professional athlete that's impacting their environment, their community. I just wanted, I would say, a rather different impact.
It's a personal choice. Going through your personal experiences, it rerouted you to a different, probably the same destination, but a different route to get there.
Right. I feel like I could help more people in that realm because it's only a small percentage that make it to the professional sports level versus you can get a lot more people into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math.
So true. So how tall would you say you are?
6'3".
And would you consider yourself an athletic guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty athletic.
So where in the time of you being, you're an athletic guy, when did you feel that something was happening inside of your body?
Um, so I felt something months before I received my diagnosis, but it was a bit misleading. So playing sports in college, you come across injuries. So I herniated a disc my first year in college, so I had excruciating back pain, and the symptom that I was experiencing as far as pain was very similar to that feeling I felt before. So I was really confused. I thought just the back injury was coming back, but I was really, harboring cancer, active cancer in my body, and just didn't know it.
Many people don't personally get that news that they have cancer. A lot of people I do know that have dealt with that from a family member, a friend having that. What is that like actually hearing the doctor tell you that you are now, carrying cancer?
What it's like is it's shocking, but shocking can be taken different ways. So like for me, it was shocking in the sense of like, it wasn't believable. It was like, there's no way I have cancer. Like I kind of laughed when he said it in disbelief, but nevertheless, it was just shocking.
What was the days after? How was your spirit? How was your attitude towards knowing that, okay, this is serious, I have cancer? What was your day-to-day attitude and feeling and look on life? What was that like?
Well, before I received the diagnosis, as far as the type of cancer I had, God told me I was going to be okay. He just wanted me to share the testimony of him healing me. So just from that alone, I was good. And that's kind of what impacted people the most, just seeing me go on about my everyday life, just happy-go-lucky. So I would say my spirit was very uplifted. There were moments where I was experiencing a lot of pain, so that, of course, changed my how I projected myself. I wasn't necessarily smiling because I was in pain, but it was never to a point where I was like sad or anything. So uplifted for the most part.
Would you say the way you handled the situation was due to the upbringing that you had from your family and the role model that your dad has been to you? Would you say that is a big aspect of how you actually handled having cancer?
Absolutely. It was a huge influence. I've seen perseverance a lot in my family, and I've also, that's where my faith foundation was built too, my relationship with God, just seeing that in my family, my father, my grandfather, uncles, aunts, cousins, aunts, everybody, uncles. So I've had that before me a lot, and it was more natural for me to gravitate to that actual, I would say it's a skill. It's a skill. So yes, family had a lot to do with that.
And going into last time we actually spoke, I know that you were still dealing. You were going through chemo, and I think we actually met on the day you had chemo.
Yeah.
So I seen that you were. I personally saw. I never, experienced it face to face. Where are you now with cancer?
I am in remission, as they would say. The cancer in me is dormant, but I still have to go to follow-up appointments because the reality is it could come back. So I'm good. I feel great, but I still have to, follow up.
And like me, I never experienced it personally. But when you say chemo, what exactly is entail with chemo?
All right, so chemo, it's a chemical therapy. Depending on the type of cancer you have, they inject different chemical combinations to attack and pretty much slow down the spreading, the cell division of the cancer. So, my process was composed of, I think, 6 different type of medicines. One I remember was Rituxan, which was like the active ingredient, but it was a combination of other ones as well. And I would go through 6-hour treatments every 3 weeks.
What exactly is happening? Like when you're sitting in the chair, are you sitting in the chair or is it just on movies?
No, you're in like a recliner.
Okay, so what's actually, is something shooting inside of you and pulling something out, or how does that,
it is, I still have my port in.
Okay.
So where they had this fat needle they inject into, it's a hole in the midst of this triangle right here. So they're pumping these fluids through this port and it's dispersing throughout your body. So yeah, it's nothing's leaving you, but it's more so you're receiving the chemo
To fight.
to fight the living and the cancer cells. So it's killing you and the cancer cells.
So getting to know you better over the last year, I have come to the conclusion that you are a popular guy. From all the inspirational posts I've seen from people online about how you inspire them or what you went through inspired them to actually keep going and pushing through what they're going through. And it I don't know if it originated from your shirt where it says "Cancer sucks, but does your faith." How did that start? How was that developed?
Interesting story. My girlfriend and I were on the phone one night. I think it was probably after a chemo treatment or something, and we were just talking about like the situation in its entirety, and she came up with the motto like, cancer sucks, but does your faith? And I was like, that's kind of catchy. If that was on the shirt, I'll wear it. So a couple weeks later for Valentine's Day, she sends me a shirt with it on the shirt. So, and I post a picture, and it just catches fire. And from that, people just started requesting it. Like, can I have that shirt? Can I have that shirt? And we kind of just felt the responsibility from a spiritual standpoint that we need to pour into the lives of people who really need that faith support. And just like over maybe a little under 3 months, we sent over 500 shirts across the world, United States of America, Central America, even into Africa. So it was something that just came out of nowhere, but it's the responsibility that kind of comes into play.
One, she's a keeper, and you sparked a movement because, like you said, it's hitting a lot of people. The message is hitting them. It's not it's just a nice shirt to wear. People are wearing it because it has a meaning behind it.
Right.
What does that meaning, being that you went through cancer, what is that meaning now, wearing the Cancer Sucks shirt?
Right. It's really like a challenge. You get better in whatever you're doing by challenging yourself, pushing yourself. And to make it in this world, you got to have faith. So it's really challenging your faith, testing you, asking you, like, where is your faith at this point? And it's not even just about cancer. It could be about your financial situation, relationships. Anything can suck at a certain point in time in life. But what about your faith?
Did your faith ever suck during this whole time that you went through this ordeal, this situation? Did it ever, to you, suck?
I try to tell myself that even if I do have faith, I could always have more. You can never put too much belief in God and His abilities because He's limitless. So I'll never say I have enough faith because we can always believe a little more in our actions.
Three Saturdays out of every month, David spends his time tutoring for a federally funded access program called Upward Bound. Upward Bound serves high school students who want to pursue a college opportunity and come from low-income backgrounds and or are a potential first-generation college student.
Helping like you said, Upward Bound program, those students. How does that fulfill you?
Man, it's an opportunity for me to get outside of myself. Like, there's no personal gain, aside any like material gain for me getting up on Saturdays to come help those students. And that's what I tell them, like, I'm here for you. So it don't matter how long it take. Like, we can sit at this board all day until you understand it. So it just kind of, it just brings, it feeds that selfless spirit. And I really appreciate it. And it helps me in other situations where someone may be watching me and I don't know it. And it just allows who I really am to be magnified.
So, David, what is one word you would use to describe yourself?
That's why I tell you today, he's amazingly bright. And I'm not just saying it because he's my son, I'm saying it humbly.
One word to describe David. Motivational, man. He's a strong guy, man. He motivated me to stay positive no matter what.
I can't believe I can only describe David in one word, but If I had to choose just one, I would say infectious. It's just something about David. It's almost like you can't put your finger on it. He can easily walk into a room full of people who have no idea who he is and just they gravitate to him. He spreads the love of Christ and such positivity everywhere he goes. And I can honestly say that I've been infected by it myself. um, I love the fact that he knows his and understands his purpose with the whole cancer situation. He's expressed to me a couple of times that he knows the reason why God has allowed him to have this challenge is to help others and to inspire them to know and believe that in spite of the things that we go through, Christ loves us and we have to have faith in him. We have to trust him wholeheartedly because he truly won't leave us or forsake us. So to you, David, I'm just so proud of you, who you are, the faith that you have in God, and I just love you so much. And congrats on beating cancer. All right.
One word to describe myself: developing.
And why would developing be the word?
Because me thinking back to as far back as I can remember, I'm the same person, but I'm not the same person at the same time. Always growing, always evolving. And I had a basketball coach, actually my coach here at Tuskegee, Coach Jerry Dunn. He said, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So, and I kind of took that statement to heart. So I always want to be developed and getting better in all situations. And I feel like that's, if I was to look at myself, I would say developing.
So we can't leave without you telling, how people can actually reach you. How can they connect with you on social media? How can people actually order the shirts if they don't know how to get in contact with the right person of getting them? Give us your information, man.
Right. Okay, so I'm not really social media heavy, so I'm not really on Instagram and all the other stuff. But I do have a Facebook where that's my primary source of contact for the shirts. So my name on Facebook is David Alexander IV, Roman numeral 4. And just send me an inbox. And that's pretty much how all the shirts that we did disperse. For people who didn't know me, they contacted me through there.
All right, David, I thank you so much for sitting down today with me and telling your story. It is one that honestly touched me, and it's one I know for a fact that has touched a lot of people. So keep pushing and never give up on your journey, man. Thank you.
Thank you.